Hello, I'm Scuffy the Dolphin, and let me ask you a question. Has this ever happened to you?
I want to play a game with a compelling story and well-written characters. Yeah, this'll do.
I know it sounds weird to be criticizing the Mario franchise in a video talking positively about it, but I don't think it's controversial to say people don't play Mario games for the story. People usually play Mario games for the fun gameplay, whether it's with the mainline platforming games or the spin-offs like Mario Kart and Mario Party. But when it comes to the story, it usually just dwindles down to Princess gets kidnapped by Spiky Turtle Monster, Plumber tries to save her. That's not to say it doesn't work, but no one talks about the Mario franchise because of its storytelling. So with a new movie coming out in which it will be relying at least somewhat on the story, I thought I'd talk about some of the best stories in the Mario franchise. But first, I probably should elaborate on what I mean by stories. I'm not just going to be going into the stories being told, because even with these topics, some of them do just dwindle down to Princess gets kidnapped, yada yada yada. I'm also going to be going into their execution, characterizations, and how much it brings to the Mario universe. So join me as I talk about some of my favorite stories in the Mario franchise. We'll start off by talking about what many people consider to be one of the best Mario games, Super Mario Galaxy. And I'm actually not going to be talking about the main story in the game, but rather one optional yet very interesting aspect of it. The main story in the game is Bowser kidnapping Peach yet again, but this time taking her castle into space and knocking Mario into its deep recesses. Wherein Mario meets up with some new characters, Rosalina and the Lumas, who agree to help him get to Bowser as long as he finds stars to power up their ship, the Comet Observatory. One thing you can do in the game is every now and then when you gain enough stars, you can head to the library, where Rosalina will be telling a story to the Lumas. The story is of a little girl who finds a Luma, and the two of them go to space to find the Luma's mother. We never find out explicitly who the girl is, but it's Rosalina. I mean, come on. Based on the design and the story, it's all but confirmed to be young Rosalina. Not to be confused with baby Rosalina. This is a rare thing for a Mario game to do, as it does two things that we rarely see in the franchise. First off, it gives a backstory to a new character. When a character is introduced in the franchise, we don't really get to see any kind of backstory for them. Characters like Daisy, Waluigi, and Toadsworth are introduced as new characters, but we don't really know a lot about their past. With this, we learn about who Rosalina is and why she and all the Lumas are aboard the Comet Observatory. Second, it's rare for a Mario game to have an aspect that's this emotional, but this story manages to be effectively sad and heartwarming at times. I won't spoil which moment I'm talking about, but there's a moment later on where the music fades out, and after turning the page, the score changes to a much more somber song. I can definitely see some people crying at this moment, which is what makes this a unique kind of story in the Mario franchise, as well as making Rosalina a new fan favorite in the series. That's why I had to highlight this moment in Mario Galaxy. Not only does it do a great job at giving context to a new character, but it also manages to hit you right in the feels in a way no one would ever expect a Mario game to do.
Scuffy, how could you? How could you start off with something so sad and emotional?
Yeah, you're right, Duffy. Probably started off a bit too serious there. So with that, let's talk about a wild card that I'm pretty sure no one else would think of. The Mario sports games. And I'm not talking about the story modes in some of these games, but rather the opening cutscenes. Many Mario sports games start out with an opening cutscene where it's usually just the characters playing the sport that's included in the game. But two games went above and beyond with their opening cutscene by saying, you know what? Let's just make an Oscar-worthy animated short film that will be, for some, more beloved than the actual game. I'm referring to Mario Golf Toadstool Tour and Mario Power Tennis. Both games open with these fun scenarios involving the characters playing the sport, but are more focused on the hijinks of Wario and Waluigi. Both of their predecessors on the N64 also opened with fun cutscenes, but these two brought this kind of opening to the next level. In the golf one, Wario and Waluigi won a challenge and/or show off against the other characters. But they soon accidentally hit Bowser with a golf ball, and he chases them until a ball hit by Mario causes Bowser to drop a bomb and explode the three of them. This one is simple but has its charm, and has some fun comedic moments. But then, there's the Mario Power Tennis opening. If I had to say one was better than the other, I would say the Power Tennis opening knocks it out of the park. Or court, rather. Not only because of its more unique story, but also for going even more all out with the comedy. It follows a tennis tournament going on where Wario and Waluigi get eliminated early, so with the help of some training from Bowser, they try to take the tournament into their own hands by challenging the Mario Bros once again. Also explosions. This one is the full-on package. Every moment of this opening is a delight, where the comedy of Wario and Waluigi is absolutely hilarious. But I would have to say that one of the biggest highlights of both of these openings is Charles Martinet. Voicing Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi, he gets to have some brief but hilarious line readings as the characters, especially Wario and Waluigi.
This looks bad.
I doubt anyone would ever think of these two openings as great Mario stories, but they do a great job at showing how fun of a dynamic duo Wario and Waluigi are in a couple of almost Looney Tunes-esque shorts.
For my next topic, I'm actually going to be talking about a comic series, specifically Super Mario Adventures.
Super Mario Adventures is a series of comics in the Nintendo Power magazines published in 1992.
The book that I have is a reprinting of the series done in 2016 by Viz Media. You know, the same people who publishes most of the manga you've heard of.
The series follows the Mario brothers trying to rescue Peach from Bowser, who plans on marrying her this time. This series came out a while after Super Mario World, and it's loosely based on it, with several aspects of the game showing up, such as Yoshi's and the Koopalings. In fact, as far as I'm aware, this is the first time we've seen Yoshi's main speech being their name, long before Yoshi's story introduced the voice we all know and love. At this point, the voice he was known for was whatever that was. But back to the comic. What I really admire about this book is that it is not afraid to get weird. There are many effective jokes and bizarre moments that give this a fun tone. For example, there's a character named Friendly Floyd who is just a normal human who shows up and sells things to the characters.
Wait a second. Why is a human in the Mario universe so weird? That's weird in and of itself!
And that's just one of the weird things about this book. Along with that, it also has some really good characterizations, especially with Bowser and Peach in particular being some of the book's highlights. With Bowser, he has a bit more of a comedic tone where he is hell-bent on marrying Peach, even if she won't have any of it despite his best efforts of trying to woo her. And Peach is more of a rebel in this, where in the first half, she has to save Mario from Bowser at one point, and it's pretty awesome. And with the Mario Bros themselves, they end up getting into some more wackier hijinks that you don't get from the games, such as Luigi dressing up as Peach, and this moment with the booze that I don't want to spoil.
Mario and Luigi get drunk? Seriously, Duffy?
This also comes with a Mario vs. Wario one-off story, which kinda plays out like a Mickey Mouse cartoon and is fun in its own rights. Overall, I would definitely recommend this book for a more weird but enjoyable Mario story packed with some great characterizations and fun moments.
And now on to my favorite story in the Mario franchise. And I'm actually going to be talking about two games from the same series.
Now, I have never been much of an RPG guy. Granted, I've gotten into some of them, but for the most part, it is not my thing. Even with Mario, I still haven't played Super Mario RPG yet, although I want to, and I have played some of the Mario and Luigi games as a kid, but I don't hold a lot of memories of them.
But recently, I've had the opportunity to play two Mario RPGs that I would consider to have the best stories in the Mario franchise. And those two games are Paper Mario and Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
I love these two games, not just for their stories, but for just about everything they do. The gameplay, the puzzle solving, even the RPG mechanics, as someone who doesn't care much for the genre, really got me invested, especially with the battles. But when it comes to their stories, they are similar in their setups. Someone kidnaps Peach and Mario has to find 7 star items to save Peach and achieve the other main goal. But they do have their differences that make them unique. In Paper Mario, the story is still Princess gets kidnapped by Spiky Turtle Monster, but it expands on that. This time, Bowser steals a star rod that he uses to make himself invincible and grabs Peach's castle into the sky. So now it's up to Mario and some new companions to save Peach and find all the captured star spirits so they can get the star rod back. What I love that this game does is expand the world of Mario in terms of locations and characters. The worlds in the game feel very lived in, where each location does a great job at making you want to explore. And as for the characters, with the exception of Mario, who in both games is just the generic silent protagonist, not only do the Paper Mario games give a great cast of new characters, but breathe new life into familiar faces. Peach is still the damsel who's being held captive by Bowser, but she actually does shit in these games, where with the help of her star companion Twink, she finds info on where the next star spirit is and gets that info to Mario. And then there's Bowser. Remember how I said in Super Mario Adventures he had a more comedic tone? Well, the Paper Mario games perfected that. Bowser is fantastic in these games, where he can still be threatening occasionally, but at the same time he has some of the funniest moments in these games that make him a great comedic villain. Especially with his new foil, Kammy Koopa, where they have some great back and forths. And then there's the new companion characters, and they're fine for the most part. Some of them can be great characters with a lot of personality, but at the same time, some of them don't add much after you meet them. Although with that said, it is still easy to pick out your favorites among the group, both in terms of usefulness and personality. And all of what I said about Paper Mario is made better in the Thousand Year Door. This time, Peach finds a treasure map in the criminal-infested town of Rogueport and sends it to Mario. But when he arrives, Peach is nowhere to be found, so it's up to Mario and his new companions to use the map to find the crystal stars to open the eponymous Thousand Year Door. What I love about this game's story is that after the first game expanded on the plot of Bowser kidnapping Peach, this one has similarities, but succeeds at experimenting with something different. This time, these characters called the X-Nauts have kidnapped Peach in hopes of finding the crystal stars first. And during this, Peach befriends a supercomputer who wants her to show them what love is in exchange for emailing Mario information.
Oh yeah, these games can be weird. And that's a good thing.
And Bowser is basically just trying to find his place in the story. The locations that Mario and his companions explore in this game can have some normal levels, but also does some new and inventive things, like having Mario join a fighter's ring, solving a train mystery, and a dark and gloomy town where nearly everyone has been turned into pigs.
What?!
Even the new companions are better in this game. While the quantity went from a total of 8 to 6, they are all way better in this game, where they can range from decent characters with fun personalities to having some great and sometimes tragic character arcs. Overall, what these two games did with the Mario universe will never be overlooked, as they not only expanded this beloved world and gave us some enjoyable new characters, but created a couple of stories in the Mario universe that I and many others will never forget.
So, were there any that I missed? Then leave a comment sharing some of your favorite stories in the Mario franchise. And I'm Scuffy the Dolphin, and I'll see you next time, whenever that may be. I'm still hung up on everyone turned into pigs!